All right, welcome back to Business AM. You're still watching Metropole Television. Let's now quickly jump into the last issue this morning. Now, the 12-member Senate committee established to consider the ongoing debate on the county revenue allocation is this week expected to present proposals that will help break the 2-month deadlock over the formula. Now, the committee met last Friday behind closed doors with officials from the National Treasury and the Commission on Revenue Allocation. Now, the meeting trained its focus on finding a workable formula on county revenue allocation formula without presenting a case scenario of winners and losers. Now, Reginald, is it possible to present a formula that will ensure that no county gets less than what it got in the last financial year? And what are the possible measures that can be put in place to cushion counties that will lose revenue under the formula?
Thanks, Simba. I think this is all, I don't know whether you'll call it hot air or not. Our county system is not sustainable. 380 billion can uplift Kenya to greater levels if it is actually put into the right sectors and the right areas. It will create employment and are being debated and all. We need to realize that 85% of the money that goes to counties does not go for development but goes for recurrent expenditure, goes to pay salaries. Yeah, and what remains there is 15% of the development expenditure, and 10% has been less than 30%. Yeah, so yes, we are saying counties are losing, some counties will gain, but it just means this county will pay more people and this county will pay less people. That's what senators are all about, and making noise and filling Twitter and all that. If we want to make devolution work, you cannot devolve expenditure without devolving the ability to generate revenue, because then you have a dependency problem of counties on the national government. I have not seen a county that has come up and say, I want more money because if I get this money, I will be able to generate more revenue. Then the next time I will not need more money. And until we start having such a conversation, we are just playing around numbers. Some people have gotten something to do during this COVID. Some people are getting political mileage, but we are not sitting down to actually say, how do we make counties work? Because if a county is not able to even generate 2 billion in its own internal revenue, then the question is, does that county actually need to exist? And it goes back to the element of, we did devolution for political expediency and not for economic growth or economic expediency. We did not look at devolution from the economic perspective, but we looked at devolution at the political perspective. And now it is haunting us economically. Because Simba, 300 billion that has been given to counties since the Jubilee government came in up to now, if that money was put into building classrooms, hiring more teachers, putting more acreage under irrigation, improving the quality of the products that we export under AGOA in preparation of this free trade agreement that is going to come, getting people to piped water, because 72% of the people don't have access to piped water. If we were to get people proper sanitation, close to 75% of the population still uses pit latrines. These 300 billions that were given to counties from 2013 when Jubilee came in and up to now could have moved Kenya from where we currently are. We could have been better in terms of human developmental indexes. So I think the Senate is spending time and energy discussing the wrong thing, and not discussing the formula from a political angle, and not looking at what is the economic value of what we want to achieve with counties. Because right now, this 300 billion, 85% of it goes to pay salary. It does not develop anything in the counties. What we devolved is the payroll, but we did not devolve the ability to generate revenue to the counties.
All right, Washington, just quickly on that, because I want to get also the sentiments of Manga on that. Now, Reginald is saying, I mean, what we're talking about counties, if in reality they have not helped change the face of the Kenyan economy. Is that your sentiment? And I want to ask you this. Is it possible to present a formula that introduces the maximum amount of money that a county can lose then?
Well, to a certain extent, my colleague is right about the issue of counties being a political idea, so to speak. But also, the idea of counties is very, very good. I mean, it's worked in several countries. Look at the United States of America. It's all a continent with several counties, and they're independent and they generate their own money, so to speak. I guess that was the same formula that was being applied here. Put it so that we can remove marginalization. You also know there's so many marginalized counties in this country that didn't have anything. There are counties actually that thought, if you ask them whether they stay in Kenya, they say, no. I'm going to Kenya when they say they're coming to Nairobi. You know, there mahali wako, it's not Kenya. I mean, that's a concept that was a concept behind the county's government formation. But now, even looking now, the main thing is that, of course, there are teething problems with the counties because they need to generate income, just like my colleague is saying. They need to be able to sustain themselves. And even the money that they're being given is basically to prop them up and see whether they can be able to sustain themselves. But now you find there are very, very few counties actually that are generating money worth to be talked about. And the revenue sharing formula, there are so many. I mean, these guys, the senators have been, they're having so many meetings doing this. I think, well, they're also increasing their allowances by having that. But the point is this: there are very, very many proposals that have been put forward. But we find there's a proposal there's a proposal being called the Sakaja Amendment. That is the main one that is on the floor that seeks to allocate money based on the previous allocation that have been having, but then they say up to a certain extent of about 316.5 billion will be according to the old formula. And then it says over and above 316 billion, it can be subjected to the 7-parameter formula. Well, there are several parameters that they're using to calculate that. But they seem to be having actually a consensus on how the money is going to be distributed among the counties. That is not so acrimonious. But the main thing is that the counties need to be able to be self-sustaining governments. Remember, these are small governments that we are forming. They need to be self-sustaining governments. And what happens if a government is not sustaining? Should a county government be overthrown by the residents, or what? What happens when they don't perform, so to speak? When they don't generate income, what happens to them? All right?
Pretty much. All right,
Yeah.
Washington, if you may, I'm sorry to actually just cut you on that point. Yes, now, George, what then? I mean, can represent a formula that sort of says, fine, it's not going to be equitable because, yeah, I mean, to all sense, that's where the debate is coming from, is that you can't equate Nairobi and Mandera. No. But then can we represent a formula that says, well, in the point that we're going to lose some funds, that you can only lose up to this point?
I think Elijah, in this stalemate, I would want to see a win-win formula for all the 47 counties, so to speak. And if I may say, remember the budget that was read by our able minister, the Attorney of Finance, was a 3 trillion budget. What we are discussing at the Senate is barely 316 billion of that budget. That means that we have taken almost a month plus discussing a tenth of our budget. That we are still having 90% of our budget still sitting at the national government. So we are concentrating our mind on a very small figure as opposed to looking at the bigger picture, that is the 3 trillion budget. So my take is that this should be a win-win for all the 47 counties. How can we achieve this? There's been a debate between using population as a major weight in revenue distribution. But my take is that population, that's a good idea because money should follow population. But this formula should be tampered with what we call affirmative action. If you look at the history of Kenya, there are counties in this country that are still way behind other counties? How can we prop them up so that they catch up with the other counties? So I think that is what should occupy the minds of Senate, what should occupy the minds of CRA and even the 12-member committee that are sitting in. My other take could be that central government can decide to add something small, maybe say 50 billion, so that no county loses any revenue, but the counties that are highly populated gain something over and above what they already have. I think it should be a win-win for all the 47 counties. But when you put a scenario where some countries loses while some gain, then there is definitely going to be acrimony, even as the Senate is sitting back again tomorrow.
Yes. All right, George, 15 seconds. Do you think that maybe tomorrow, after the 12-member Senate committee, they met with the Treasury and the Commission of Revenue Allocation, do you think that now, finally, we're going to get something after 2 months of this debate?
I think the Speaker to the Senate had alluded to the informal Kamukunji. So I want to believe that they have had the informal meeting, they have had their lobbying, and they should now come up with the position. Remember that the 12-member committee were incorporated from all the major sides, so that they come up with a compromise, so to speak. So I believe by end of tomorrow, maybe they might not reach a tangible solution, but I know that by end of tomorrow they should have a pointer to where they're heading to with this debate. They might not continue tomorrow, but I believe if they sit tomorrow, they sit the next Tuesday, then we should be able to have a working formula for all the 47 countries.
Pretty much, Reginald, as we clear this conversation this morning, in just 15 seconds, yes, I mean, the last sitting bore the 12-member Senate committee, and the Speaker said, well, this is without race, without gender, without anything, and they actually did go and sit with CRA and also the Treasury. Do you think that points finally to something that we can look forward to tomorrow?
Simba, whether they agree or they don't agree, again, I'm always of the point of stop treating symptoms and go to the root of the problem. For me, as Washington said, they've earned their sitting allowances, they've earned their political mileage, they've done all the realigning, and when this money reaches the counties, they're just going to pay more people. People are not going to get better water services, they're not going to get better sanitation, they're not going to get better roads and all those things. It's just more people who are going to be paid, more governors will have more money to pay, and this is half the battle. Because when this money is distributed, the governors need to go fight for those budgets with the MCAs. That's more money that will be distributed to MCAs to buy them to agree. Waste of time.
Washington cleared the conversation this morning. Good. It looks, according to you, that somebody wants to get paid. That's why we've been having a 2-month-long debate. But the last sitting, could it give you indications to something that we can rely on this week? Because we're waiting for it tomorrow.
Just like Reginald is saying, I think this thing, it didn't have to prolong for 2 months, by the way. Remember, there's something we're forgetting. There are people at the counties as we speak right now who are not being paid their salaries. For 2 months. For 2 months, right? How are these guys surviving? You know, that's a question I ask myself. When you find these county employees not being paid, how do they survive? You know? That's where corruption comes in, by the way, for services and stuff like that. These guys, sometimes it doesn't get into their head that you cannot go for a month without remitting money to counties, that money that's supposed to pay employees. Maybe they don't even need the money. If they can pay for 2 months without money, maybe they don't need it. You know, it's not even about revenue sharing. I mean, look at it this way. Because, well, the Sakaja amendment that I was talking about previously, it seems that like that is what we've settled on. It seems like that to be the main topic of the debate from tomorrow, and we hope they're going to come up with something. Because, and I mean, what's wrong? I don't even know what's wrong with this government. As they debated this issue of the amendments, they should have continue giving money to counties. How do you debate for 2 months or even for 6 months and you're still not giving money to counties? What the hell? I mean, sorry, but what is going on here? You know?
Washington, thank you very much this morning. I get where you're coming from. So hopefully it's going to change your mind after Tuesday. Now, gentlemen, thank you very much. This has been such a lovely conversation. We were joined by Washington George Minga and Reginald Kazitsu, and his name is Washington Degea. All right, and that's exactly how we end our show this morning. Thank you very much for watching Business
Thank you, Elijah. Thank you, Elijah.